and the return. So
Yeah.
I suppose let's get started. Unless
Okay.
there are any questions, comments, or concerns before we begin.
I didn't do a full recap, and last session was a shorter one, so I'll start off, I guess, by just stating that we had finished off our fight with the Blight Horse, was like the last big thing, basically, the unicorn. We talked with Eldrick a bit, did some running around, got the antidote, and came back to town. And last session specifically, we spent a lot of time just in town doing kind of like expositional stuff and some like talking to people and just finding out what's going on here, basically. We met, I'm looking for my paper notes here. We met and talked to the guard captain, and I can't remember her name, even though I did ask it. Or I had it somewhere.
Oriana.
Oriana. Yes. And, well, her and I believe a group that she was with, probably some guardsmen, were actually who we ran into on the way back to town. And we gave them some of the antidote in our possession to prove that we should come back and, like, help out, basically, that we are cured. And yeah, we used some of it to cure the blight on one of the dude's necks, I think it was, specifically. That allowed us access back into town to basically talk with the elders and find out how we could get this to everybody. And it's a little mixed up in my head, but I think we went to talk with the elders and then we lost time. And unfortunately, he's not here to talk about his part, but it kind of cut to Egg. And then when it got back to us, we were back in our room with no vials of the antidote left and, like, no memory of our conversation with the elders, if I remember correctly. And yeah.
That is correct.
From there, we basically started off on a mission to find out what the hell is going on, essentially. Ooh, that's really, really pretty.
Nice.
That's treetop.
Nice. And yeah, I'll pass off to Rumble to take from there.
After we found out that we had lost time, the next day happened to be when they posted the candidates for their missing seat on the Elder Council, which is going to lead up to a debate with originally 4. 2 of the names were scrawled out, and we did do some digging. Fortunately or unfortunately, one of the names on the list was my character, Lavinia Beldam. Very confused as to why she was picked. And the other candidate we did get some info about, Lautrec. Abishai. I have a slight dyslexia there reading my own notes. And we did find out that he is lizard-skinned. We weren't given info that he was like full lizard person, were we?
No one ever actually said that he was dragonborn. They just said lizard-skinned, yeah.
Okay. And I think our group consensus is, given the kind of clout he has in town, that there may be some political espionage amuck.
Some shady dealings of some sort.
Yeah. Considering 2 of the other candidates were dead or missing from the poking around we did in town. From there, we decided that it would be good to head back to the forest and speak to Eldrick. And so we met up with Egg at the perimeter of their ward, since he was not allowed in town with his pet. And I think that's where we stopped.
I think so. Just a quick recap that follower, being a baby Bulette, is not allowed within a mile of treetop. He knows how to sit, recall. I think we were working on drop it. I don't think we actually made it to finishing drop it. And then he knows his name, obviously. So yeah, I think you guys covered pretty much everything else.
Yeah, because we stopped before getting to Eldrick, I believe, since that's going to be kind of a lengthy conversation, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys feel sufficiently caught up then?
I think so.
Yes.
All right. In that case, I'd like to do something that I would like to start doing after we do recaps in our session. And this doesn't have to be very long, just like a single sentence. And it certainly doesn't have to be very thorough today because I'm springing it on you. But I would like to know what each of you thinks will happen in the upcoming session.
Sure.
I think that, well, I'll go ahead and start since I had the shortest recap. I think, obviously, we're just going to give Eldrick a breakdown of what's happened. He's going to be like, yeah, it's a town. They make people forget their memories. Shit happens, just do your job. And then the madam is going to have to be in a debate to try and win the seat on the council. And we are probably going to have to use a little bit of backhandedness and magic to make her win the debate, and then hopefully we can get to see Lena. So.
Okay.
And I guess we'll go up the list.
Sure.
Geez. I feel like the debate's going to go poorly, either through a series of bad rolls or just not having enough information regarding Treetop and like what it exactly is we're debating about. I feel like we're very likely going to run into the consequences of being openly named for a candidate position. Be that through assassins in the night or some other encounter like that.
Sure.
Yeah. I definitely think you're going to do the debate. I think you're going to fail it, but I think we're going to be attacked by assassins and we're going to have to do some dirty work. Maybe not this session, but like another session where we take the dude down.
All right, let's see how keen your skills of prediction and perception are, and we'll go ahead and get started. First things first, as I believe the group had just gone to meet with Eldrick. That was the last bit of things, and I can't remember if you actually got there or not. So we'll just go ahead and say that you had. You had met with, you caught up with Eldrick. The group was able to chat briefly before sundown, and then everybody took their rest, and as you woke up you will find that there is a note in Egg's bedroll that simply says, taking care of something, be back later.
Oh, that doesn't bode well.
Some housekeeping
Mhm.
during the travel back, since it was like 2.5 days.
Yeah.
The spyglass and compass that we spent way too much time trying to find in town, I would have given those to Egg since they were
Okay.
bought with party funds, and he has some oceanic experience.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's fucking gone, so good on that, I suppose.
Sure.
And then, because we are kind of suspect as to what happened to the other candidates, Beldam was the one carrying the portable hole. So I would like to pass that off to one of the other two here who want to be in charge of inventory management, just in case I get kidnapped. Who knows?
I mean, I can do it. I know that there's still, well, actually no, because after probably 2 days, there's probably not any giant elk left for follower. But I can still take the whole.
Well, you will perhaps be surprised to learn that Follower has joined Egg in his mysterious excursion.
Oh, poor baby boy is gone. Well, I'm guessing that he ate all of the rest of the giant elk before he went. So, but I can still take the whole.
Okay.
That, and at some point, I would like to have cast Identify on the lichen that we scraped off the ward wall.
Okay. I'm going to give you an advantage on the Arcana check to identify it by casting Identify. Because it's not necessarily just straight up a magic item. Oh, dang. 19 and a 20. Did I actually put it in my notes, or do I need to rattle it off from my brain space? Of
Wasting the good debate rolls now.
course.
Might as
That was
well.
my plan all along.
No.
No, I'm gonna have to pull this up from my old notes before we went into OneNote. Now, I think again, if any of you have ever read any of my like the big adventure that I wrote, then this may come as a bit of familiarity to you. I believe this is the one. There we go. Okay, so Arcana, you got a 27. Okay, so it is called Anonymous Veno. What it is not a naturally occurring plant. It is often referenced as an example of the merging of the natural and the arcane. It is a plant born of shadows, created by a master illusionist and interrogator. Its secrets are closely guarded by apothecaries and alchemists alike. A bulbous, spore-reproducing plant, Anonymous Veno is rumored to have adverse effects on the memory of those nearby. It is mentioned briefly in the notes of many great alchemical books, which is where your Identify and Arcana check come in handy. Is it having spent many times poring over many such books, you've likely glossed over it. Even simply writing about the plant is enough to cause a very mild form of memory loss, and so many people who have read about it just won't recall it. It was basically created as a naturally occurring memory manipulator. While quite potent on its own as a plant, only skilled alchemists can extract the true venom and purpose of it. It can be used to induce feelings of forgetfulness, causing the affected to forget planned gathering and tasks at hand. The bulb of the plant carries a spore which can be ground into a powder. And then you would need a little bit more alchemical knowledge to know what to do with that. Actually, are you proficient in alchemy?
I am not.
You can give me a. Oh no, you got a 20 on your Arcana check. I'll give it to you. So basically, one such tincture or potion that can be made with it is by mixing it with the blood of a psychic creature. It can be used to intentionally alter a creature's memory. So you can basically change what someone remembers. But basic exposure to the plant will cause you to lose up to 24 hours worth of memory.
Okay. Just from a metamechanical standpoint, from my understanding, would the potion function as the modify memory spell?
Something similar to that, yes.
Okay, neat.
But you would need to either be or know a master alchemist to put that together. It isn't just mixing plant with blood and
Right.
hoping. Okay. Anything else?
And then rolling that Arcana check reminded me I have been carrying the Astromancy book, but I feel like I'm kind of tapped out for my level. And so since it was Pedalins to begin with, I will give it back to her.
Oh, okay, awesome. Not sure what I can do with it, but thank you. I will put it in my backpack with the prayer sheet for Mordrak.
Okay. So the group is breaking camp. They discover the note from Egg. Lavinia racks through her own notes, and by casting Identify, is able to recall the effects of the mysterious plant. Anything else?
I would ask her to identify a thing for me, if she's able to. I have a diamond-shaped medallion that I don't know anything about.
I don't recall that. Where did you get it from?
No idea. It's in my notes here. Let me see if I can find it for you.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the item.
It's not the holy symbol that you got off the dead priest, is it?
I don't remember what the holy symbol off the dead priest was. Because if it was, I gave it to the paladin.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can figure out what it's from, then I can probably tell you
backtrack it.
what it is.
Okay,
'Cause
let's put a pin in it for now then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I don't have anything
it
in
wasn't
my
from last
immediate
session. It was probably from
magic.
1 or 2 sessions ago.
Yeah, if you can find the source of it, then that'll be fine. But I don't have it in my immediate notes of things that I've given you guys.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So is the group ready to meet with Eldrick then?
I suppose.
Okay. So after a brief chat in the evening, you guys were able to kind of catch up, and you would have noticed immediately that a much healthier creature than the one that you last saw. More spring in his step, more joy to his voice, and much more friendly than what you had previously encountered. Eldrick, now healed, seems to be in good spirits, especially with the potential to be, finally completing the quest that perhaps he's, had mentioned before, but, dedicated his life to. As to why that might still remain a mystery. But the group goes to Eldrick's shrine, which near where you had camped, and you will find that he is in beast form at first, conversing with a familiar large bear. They do not seem to. They do not seem to notice that you have arrived.
Think familiar to you two, right?
Eldrick!
Oh yeah, Noodles has never met girls, has he?
No, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, he was after the girls saga, because that was Temple of Elements, and then you guys haven't really seen him since you left.
Right, he never came back after Temple of Elements era, right?
Correct.
Right. Yeah, so I wouldn't have. That's true.
Yeah. So For Udanar, you see the familiar tiger of the woods conversing with an abnormally large brown bear.
I guess like I assume like not that they're friendly necessarily, but that it's another shapeshifter of some sort because I've seen the tiger. Like I know that this is a possible thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I would ask who is that or what is happening?
I'll just, in response to his question, I just kind of throw up my arms and go, Grills! Eldrick! The heroes of the woods have returned.
Okay. So, as Petalin speaks up, they both kind of turn their heads to look at her, and both of their forms kind of shift and melt slightly as they retake their bipedal humanoid natural forms. And so again, Eldrick, the dark-skinned half elf, is standing there. He's got a big beaming smile on his face. He's got both of his hands on his hips. Grills, however, is in a much worse state. He appears to be recently wounded, but alive. On his right side, he is missing his arm from the elbow down. And you can see several scars that have torn through his natural leather armor, that are like close up wounds on that same side. So it appears that he was definitely involved in more than one scuffle on his in the amount of time that you have been missing him. But ever the optimist, as it were, he doesn't seem too dour or grim about it. In fact, he claps Eldrick with his remaining hand on the shoulder, and waves to the two of you, speaking out and saying,
Wait, did he wave with the stump?
Yeah. He waves his stump to you. But he waves over to the two of you and speaks out and says, actually, did he know? Yeah, he must have known your names.
Isn't it the three of us?
Well, he doesn't recognize one of you, so let me finish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he waves to the two of you that he recognizes, so his eyes pass over Madame Beldam, and you see the recognition there. His eyes pass over Petalin, same amount of recognition. And then he looks at Udanar, who's actually as tall as, if not taller than he is, and kind of stops for a moment and looks him up and down, and then looks back at Petalin and Madame Beldam, just kind of with that expression of, well, are you gonna introduce us? And,
I don't believe you've met our good friend Udanar.
He takes a bow and says, I am Grills, leader of the Druid Circle of this region. It is hopefully a pleasure to meet you, but as I recall, there were more of your number when last we spoke. It appears that you and I have suffered similar losses.
Well, it's complicated.
One of ours decided his calling was elsewhere, and the other seems to have more pressing matters.
The last, well, he was lost.
It is unfortunate, but it is.
We had someone die.
It is the way of the world we live in.
Oh right.
Sorry. It is good to see the two of you again, and it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. What brings you back to my apprentice's woods, if I may ask?
Well, a bit of an issue. We went back to Treetop with Cure in tow, as we were not so severely infected, and it had passed naturally. And we had a meeting with the elders.
He cuts you off for a second. He's like, "Oh yeah, Eldrick was telling me about that unfortunate encounter." He looks over at his apprentice and says, "Too much for you to handle on your own, eh there, bud?" Eldrick's pride is perhaps wounded. Anyhow,
To be
continue.
fair, it nearly ended us as well. It wasn't. It would have been too much for any one person.
Perhaps my young friend here is not quite exaggerating as much as I suspected. Then, please do go on.
After some examination, it seems like our memories were manipulated in our meeting with the elders, so we honestly have no idea what we spoke to them about. All we know is they took the 2 vials of the cure that we have, and past that, I'm somehow nominated as one of the candidates for a seat on the elders.
The group governing Treetop has always been an interesting sort. I do my best to avoid going to the trees and dealing with them whenever possible, so somehow none of this surprises me. How is it that we can help? As I'm sure you're aware, the whistle that summoned Paws initially is what summoned me here, so I could arrive quickly. Soul Gem will be here shortly. What can we do?
I suppose our issue now is trying to track down the Horn of Spira. However, we are aware of the difficulty that might pose, considering we need to.
He when you say that, he kind of cocks his head and looks over at Eldrick and I would say elbows him, but I guess he stumps him. And he's like, "Weren't you in charge of that particular item? Isn't that critical item that we kind of need to do this whole thing that you've dragged me into? Like that's a big part of it." And Eldrick kind of sheepishly looks down at the ground and he says, "My wife had it." And so at that, Girls just kind of clucks, shakes his head and turns back to you and says, "Well, what else?"
Did he also mention that his wife is currently the ward for Treetop?
He says, "Now that I did know." And Eldrick looks stunned.
Well, the idea that we've had is that the madam will continue to run in the election to become the elder of Treetop, so that we may gain access to Lena and hopefully find out where the horn is through her. But we don't know enough about local politics to be able to confidently accomplish.
Again, so what is it that you need from us? Because my understanding is that we are here beginning preparations to get everything in order, and it sounds as though now you have been tasked, unfortunately, with doing Eldrick's job of tracking down the horn, which shouldn't need tracking down in the first place.
Well, how did you was the heart relic of Treetop anyway?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
How did you know that Lena was Treetop's heart ward?
As you may recall, I am the only accomplished ward singer and ward writer in the region. I was the one that established her existence as a ward. And as he says this, Eldrick just looks at him, mouth agape. And there's like this mixture of like loathing and confusion, and you can tell he's just kind of at a loss. He quickly turns on his heel and just as he turns, shifts into his tiger form and just like lumbers off into the woods at like a gallop.
Well,
Still a touchy subject, I see.
Uh-oh.
I guess. I mean, we were hoping to ask I guess
You're
us-
cutting out really
Yeah,
bad.
I'm so glad that it's not just me. I thought it was.
like I'm losing like every third word.
Okay, how's it now?
That's I'm gonna look at the server real quick. I don't think it's a server issue. Like I'm not sure what's going on. Like, am I cutting in and out for anybody?
You're fine.
Nope.
Okay, so it might be your microphone. So maybe try turning down your noise gate a little bit. No, we're on VIP West servers. That's like the best one for us, so that shouldn't be it. And we're on the same internet. You're just on Wi-Fi. Are you talking? Did you turn up your noise gate? I can hear you through the door in the bedroom, but I can't hear what you're saying. So I know that you're speaking. You know, I'll be right back. I'm gonna help her out.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so I think one of the reasons we came here in the first place was to talk to Eldrick about the plant that would have done this specifically, right?
Right, but
But he's
My
run away now.
fucking
So
20
yeah,
pretty much revealed the plant.
sure, that's fine.
I don't know.
I
he
think
would
now
be the
we
one
talk-
most knowledgeable about Treetop, though, and like the political climate there.
While
So
we're
they'll
here,
give
I
us
wonder if
some
maybe
prep.
we ask about Earl though. Just get a little
know
more
how-
info.
Touchy a subject that would be.
Well, we haven't tried with grills yet, right?
I mean, I suppose that was his teacher, but they were kind of different opinions of what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think my character would ask about it anyway. Wait, no, because he wouldn't know that they were... Like, he wouldn't make that connection, probably. That they're related somehow. Because I don't think Earl ever specifically said grills, did he?
I think he might have. Or maybe we brought up grills and he mentioned that he was his teacher. Because I think we specifically talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
updated task manager?
Well, we can hear you now.
Mhm.
Yay!
Out and clear. Because I feel like when Earl referred to Grills, he referred to him as like a fool or like not saying his name, you know? Like just referring to him by adjectives of sorts. But I don't remember, like, because even though that
Yeah,
would
it's
have
been a while.
that would have still been like a week for our characters, but for us it was like 4 months or something. So it's been a while.
Yeah, we can get the DM ruling and see if he recalls.
Yeah.
I missed some secret conversation, but please feel free to fill me in now that I'm back.
No,
No,
wasn't
it was
a
just
secret.
out of character talk to see
No, I
what
I
info
know.
we had.
I didn't mean actual secret conversation.
No, the
I
question
heard you guys
was
start
is that
talking.
even though like even for our characters it would have been a while, I can't remember if Earl referred to Grills by name, and if he did, my character would probably ask about that, but I don't know if he would make the connection unless like he like I don't think Udanar would necessarily think that this like bear form dude is the dude that this other guy was talking about a week ago. Unless, like-
I actually went back and watched that, and we did mention Grills by name to Earl, and Earl specifically mentioned him as being his apprentice. Like Grills is Earl's apprentice. And when we left Earl, he told us to tell Grills that he's a fool and his master hasn't forgiven him.
Okay.
That's information that we have. Now, whether or not we actually say that to Grills is...
Oh, no, I'm definitely
No.
asking about Earl, but I don't know that'll necessarily say that part. It's a little...
Yeah, it's a little bit harsh.
A little more tact, maybe.
Yeah.
What? Tact this group?
Yeah,
Never.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's information that we have, though.
Okay.
Actually, I just realized we should not be using the treetop scene because we're not in treetop. Be using this one. Ooh. There we go. Share sheet. There we go.
Whoa.
Now that the blight has faded from Eldrick's Woods, you get to see the beauty as the fey magic has begun to seep back into it.
Nice. Yeah, so we were also talking just as players that one of the reasons why we even came back was to find out about like the plant stuff, but that was all kind of negated because of the good roll. So we kind of don't have that much business out here, but
well, we can say that the Identify and Arcana check were collaborative with Grills
Right.
and Eldrick, because I realized as I was telling it to you, it's like there's no source for this information. Just casting Identify, it's not like it just pops up and you know all of it.
Right.
So, having read some about it in the books, and then let's say cross collaborative with Eldrick and Grills is where you pulled all that info.
Cool. Okay, and that's kind of how Rumble and I got on the conversation of, well, while we're here, we should talk about this. But obviously, since Susanna's back now, we can include her in that conversation as players if we want to do that or not.
Well, my understanding is that you guys, so Eldrick sent you into town and told you to come back because he was preparing something to help you with getting to Lena.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But now he's stormed off like a great big baby again.
Well, what do you mean, great big baby? He literally just learned that the master that taught him the things he knows is the person that turned his wife into a relic.
It's like one of the top 5 anime betrayals of all time.
Yeah.
That sounds like a him problem and not an us problem.
So he's justified in storming off.
Yeah, but now we have to wait for him to come back, or we have to go try to find him. It's just...
You can talk to Grills. Grills is still
Yeah.
here.
We do need to come up with a plan B for when inevitably the debate goes sour.
And then we don't succeed and can't get access to Lena.
So after he runs off, I think Udanar would just like step forward and just be like, Grills, you say? We met a strange man just southeast of here, I think.
So.
Yeah, we're at the shrine. I think it was southeast of here. Who mentioned that his apprentice was named Grills. Do you know of him? Earl, I think it was.
Earl. Is that what he's calling himself now? Old bastard. I'm sorry you had the displeasure of being within 100 yards of that creature. Is there some relevance as to bringing him into this?
He just had some choice words for you.
No, I've got some choice words for him. Are you acting as go-between? Is that how this is going to go down?
I think we'd rather not.
I also would rather not. The name alone just ugh.
if his
Glad
name
to
is
see
not
you parted
Earl,
ways.
how would you know him as then?
Well, meeting somebody nearby that has mentioned me by name and is let's just say that Earl is similar enough to something else that he's gone by before.
Fair enough. Honestly, like small quibbles aside, the reason I bring him up is because he seems to think this Spira idea is a bad one, and I just want to know why. Like,
Oh, of course he does. He's been against it from the beginning, the old coot. That's the whole reason that we are no longer on speaking terms and I'm no longer welcome in his woods. Well, yeah, they're not his woods anymore, are they? So, yeah, the old coot can just bugger off and die like he was supposed to do years ago. Human well outliving his usefulness and lifespan.
Well, that's healthy.
Let me put it this way. Earl, as he is calling himself, is the adoptive father of young Eldrick. Eldrick, as you may or may not know, is a half-elf. The elf portion of his ancestry is of a particularly dark-skinned variety of elves, which you may or may not have ever heard of, referred to as the Drow.
We've met a
No.
lovely one before.
Oh, have you? Interesting. There aren't.
Did we meet that was a drow?
Yeah, what?
In the murder mystery party.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. We met that.
She was kind
yeah,
of a bitch.
She was in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
library
yeah.
with the poisons. Yeah.
There aren't many surviving, but they used to thrive near here. Spira was their city. So you see, Eldrick feels a certain form of connection to what he believes to be his ancestral homeland. And Earl, being the short-sighted and even shorter-lived human that he is, despite being admittedly an accomplished druid, believes that the world is better off without them.
I'm gonna hit you up with a roll here to see what history I know of the Drow.
I
Me
thought you were
too.
just going to say, I'm going to hit you. And I was like, what?
Wow, that'd be really rude.
Doesn't
Would be.
stand for human racism.
Just look like any information about the Drow?
Just what I would know about the Drow,
Right.
if any.
I don't think you would know anything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, not knowing about the Drow at all, it actually adds, there's this handy feature, notes. I'm gonna enter a new note for myself. What are Drow? For my character, rather.
Ooh.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So I just think Earl's some weird racist piece of shit now, basically. Because, like, why else wouldn't he want this race of people to come back?
Well, you could say that.
Why would he
Why
not
wouldn't
want the
he?
Drow to come back?
Well, being somewhat of a scholar of pre-sundering knowledge myself, it is rumored that they were once terrors of the deep. Now, as to what truth there is in that, I couldn't tell you, but ever since I took Eldrick under my wing as my own apprentice, he has been nothing but a bright, promising pupil and hasn't shown a streak of... Well, I should rephrase that. There have certainly been streaks of poor taste and poorer choices, as is unfortunately the case with his former wife, but you know, I don't think there's any good reason to say, this incredibly powerful city that supported all of the towns and villages in the region. Yeah, we definitely don't want to bring that back. Let's just keep, staying in squalor and suffering here on our little continent while the rest of the world rebuilds and prospers. So, in my opinion, dude's just full of himself. But honestly, there's probably more to the old man than meets the eye. I mean, he's human and older than all of us here. Probably combined.
What? How is that possible?
That does seem odd.
Well, first and foremost, druidic magic does have its perks. But there's, again, more to him than he lets on.
Cool. Okay, that gives me something new to look into.
So, couple of things. You mentioning pre-sundering kind of spurred my memory a bit. We did have are we at the Tiger Temple?
Yes.
Okay. We did have a run in here, in fact, with members of the House of Scales who seem to be looking for Eldrick.
Is Grills familiar with the House of Scales? I can't remember. No, I don't think he is.
No, he wouldn't be.
So he's kind of gonna cock his head at you and say, "House of Scales." Is that?
They've been a
music group?
thorn in our side for quite some time, and I'll pull out whatever. I know we have a bunch of shit with their emblem on it, and show it to him. It seems that they are specifically looking for pre-sundering artifacts, and we've had quite a few encounters with them. Now, why they were specifically looking for Eldrick, couldn't say. And unfortunately, they were all dead before we can really question them.
Kind of nods along. He's gonna take let's say it's a dagger, because I know you guys have like 12 of those. They'll take the dagger from you, kind of look at the insignia. He's like, "Oh, I've seen this on a few bodies on the way up here." Out of character, or out of persona, is nobody gonna ask him about his maimed body?
I mean,
Hey,
I was
he's
gonna, but
dealing with it in
it's
his
not
own
like-
way.
I was gonna, but we weren't there naturally in the conversation yet.
Okay, all right. Just so long as I understand why it hasn't come up, because
I think we
As
have
far
an
as I know,
understanding
that's
of
how
how the
he
world
looks.
works.
That's just him. He's fine.
yeah.
He's
It
talking
might be
normal.
a touchy subject.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you two should know that he's maimed, honestly.
Right. It's one of those, like a sense of decorum. Don't
You don't
bring
just
it up
blurt
unless he
out,
brings
"Oh
it up.
my god, what happened to you?"
I mean, you kind of do in this setting.
He's talking normally to me. I figure this is just how he looks.
Yeah. So anyway, the back in setting, he's gonna take it over. He's gonna look it over. He's gonna mostly mull over this. That's very interesting. It's very intriguing. I've certainly seen the sigil before. He says, "House of Scales," you called them, and they're looking for Eldrick. Huh.
Just
Yeah,
something
that's-
to be aware of, considering the cargo you're transporting here.
Of course. I mean, the cargo has proved me right, if anything. It is certainly a beacon to those who crave the power of magic and would do all kinds of things with it, I'm sure, if they could get their hands on it.
Is that how you were hurt?
He takes like a big swallow of just like spit, looks over at his stump of an arm and down at his largely ruined armor, and he says, it certainly has been a challenge, as I said it would. Time is no friend to those who harbor power. I would just as soon be done of this quest and finally be free of the promise I made you. But it is en route and it will be here shortly. I just hope that we can find the horn that should have been here the entire time.
Speaking of, I feel like we need to have a fallback because, considering our history, I doubt a civil debate will turn out in our favor. So I feel like we should be making plans of how to find this horn, aside from trying to gain a seat on the council.
Well, Eldrick says that Lena is the one who knew where it was, and fuck if I know why that's the case, but I imagine a fallback is fine, but no matter what, your recourse is to go through Lena. I know that Eldrick was, I did assist him. We were putting together a tincture for you, which I believe he has finished. It might be around here somewhere, and he just kind of like absentmindedly starts digging through things within the temple itself. Which again, as I'd mentioned last time, the temple has been largely restored since the woods were restored. Like it actually has a roof over it now. You can see that like there's a bed. It's no longer the final resting place of a suicidal tiger that's terminally ill.
Heh.
So he starts rummaging through some things and just like pushing notes around, picks up some bottles looking for, you aren't exactly sure what. He did say tincture. So
I
but
suppose
he
our
just
largest
trails off.
hurdle
Hmm.
is gaining an audience. They don't just let anyone walk in and look at their ward, and I suppose that's why we were hoping to speak with you and why we called for you.
And he's just like, and still digging through stuff.
Now that we have the information that you were the one who created this ward, I feel you would have some sway in getting close to it at least.
Oh, I could probably certainly do something like that. Yeah. Oh my God. Susanna, did you hear that?
It just sounds like somebody's garage is opening.
No,
happened?
there was like an unearthly banshee squeal above me.
No, I didn't hear it.
Wow. Jesus Christ. No. So he's like, yeah, probably could do something. I don't know. Yeah. I am the only warden. I am the warden. What would you have me do? He says, still digging through various papers and bottles.
We'd need to get close to her. Maybe if you said that you needed to inspect how she was holding up.
Aha! And he pulls out this itty bitty little glass like stopper and vial. And says, it's been a long time. I did a fantastic job on that ward. They haven't requested my return in years.
Right, but you could be like, hey, I was in the area and just wanted to look at how good my work was.
Make sure it was holding up.
He kind of
Our
shrugs.
biggest challenge is getting close enough to it to even use whatever this is that Eldrick put together.
He's like, and now that you mention it, so this is a tincture which will awaken her subconscious mind. Now that Eldrick's not here, I suppose I can speak safely and not offend the poor lad, but knowing what state she's in, basically her mind is in a sort of pseudo-awakened state at all times where she, her body is a conduit of magic that acts to power the wards that were written into her. So yeah, you would have had quite an interesting challenge in actually getting any information out of her without me here. Small coincidence that you called me when you did. But basically, you take this here tincture, you drop it into her eyeballs, whisper a few words, And what's going to happen is you're going to yank her out of her ward state. So there's going to be a window of time where all of the wards of Treetop are no longer active, but you'll be able to talk to her for at least an hour.
What could possibly go wrong in an hour?
You tell me.
Okay. We can plan for this. What if we have, because we can't leave Treetop totally defenseless for an hour. It's too big a window. It can't be done. Not with all the dead walking around and the Death Singer gone and the House of Scales everywhere. It's inviting disaster. So we should have one person go and talk to Lena, and the rest of us will have to stand guard on the edges of town and be prepared for a fight. But this is good news. This tincture will really help.
I mean, I guess it's a step in the right direction, but wouldn't taking down the war that they're oh so proud of induce some hostility from the populace?
That's why we don't tell the populace.
Would I know how wards even work? Like, is there like a visible force field that baddies are just waiting to go down and then they storm in?
So
I
let's
would know
see.
that.
Based off of your past, you were basically born right around the time that magic started to come back, and words started being written. So based off how much of your life you lived prior to, I mean, obviously you reached adulthood, so I think you would have a very basic idea of like alpha wards. So in your mind, yes, it is literally like a force field keeping out hordes of swarming evil monsters and monstrosities.
Okay.
Whereas the more modern wards are a little bit more sophisticated than that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the alpha wards were quite literally just like barriers of, non-entry for anybody that wasn't, named. Alpha wards being like inscribed inscribed onto magical relics that were found, and like their entire function was like they could be wielded by somebody to repel whatever encroaching evil, or if they were of the right persuasion, then yes, they could create a barrier. Much more basic.
Mm-hmm. Like, it would be obvious if one went down for an hour. Basically,
The originals, like if an original ward went down for an hour, then this magic sword that enables you to slay monstrosities is now just a sword. And yeah, a sword can kill monstrosity, but not nearly so well as a magical one that has been inscribed to do exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
So no, they're not going to see a physical barrier go down.
Well,
but
I don't think that question was asked. Are you speaking out of character?
I'm speaking out of character.
Oh, okay.
But my character would know one way or the other, having worked with wards for a period of time.
Well, you may be inspired to share your knowledge here if Udanar says anything out loud. But in terms of what you know, Udanar, you basically know alpha wards. Like stage 1 of the entire ward system.
Yeah, I mean, the sound of it being down for an hour is kind of rough either way.
Yeah.
So yeah, out of character, if we put the wards down for an hour, it's not like the physical barrier is going to be seen going down, but if there's anyone, watching over the wards at the time, they would probably notice a change in the item itself that is acting as the
Well,
ward battery.
Just to share the knowledge so that people have it. Basically, what the conduits and wards even do now is a variety of things. So first and foremost is they kind of keep, like, they steer creatures away through misdirection. Like a monstrosity may not even know that treetop is there. Like it might pass. It might just take an alternate route for reasons that it doesn't understand. Like it goes left instead of right. Um, so directed away, or like a more malevolent evil might actively seek to destroy or seek it out, and so that is more of a repelling force. And so they're more reactive now than single focused.
Question for Grills. Why would you agree to make Lena the central ward for Treetop without talking to Eldrick? What did she say to you? Why would you agree to do this?
Well, Treetop needed a new ward. She offered herself up as conduit. I didn't actually know Lena that well. And when I met her, she was dying. So this was the only way to preserve her.
Dying from what?
I don't actually know. And she refused to say.
Just out of curiosity's sake, I would ask him if he knows about the unicorn that we fought.
Eldrick caught me up to speed. It was an intriguing tale, a horned plague horse, and I am certainly grateful that you were able to keep my apprentice alive. And for that, I am, again, very thankful that the group of you were here. I imagined at the time that he was exaggerating, and thus, was a little bit disappointed, but based off of your retelling of the tale, I'm inclined to believe in its strength. He says that something of that power was here at that time seems like a strange coincidence. Let's say that.
But you don't feel more than a coincidence.
It's not my place to say. Again, a creature that strong can certainly arise. The world we live in, that is the way of things, but I've never heard of or seen such a creature. That it is here at the time that it was is an interesting coincidence. If it is more than coincidence, it is its origin escapes me. I've seen all manner of strange and powerful beasts, but not one that matches that description.
Speaking of powerful beasts, what do you know about the Sylvan that reside north of here?
That perhaps their charms and wiles were too much for my young hot-blooded apprentice, and it is best that you stay out of that realm whenever possible. With the bridge between worlds only recently recreated, as it were, perhaps they are a little overeager in their visits here.
Okay.
As an aside to my party members here, do you think it's necessary that we go and speak to Eldrick before returning to Treetop?
No, I don't.
Necessary? Oh, no, to your party members. Okay.
I mean, we
Kinda
returned for information on why we may have lost our memory and to acquire whatever item he had created, and it seems that that's done. I suppose the question is, would it be beneficial to us to have Grills come with us? and try and seek an audience prior to the debate.
I mean, it would definitely be beneficial, but whether or not he
I
will, I
think-
guess.
I
You
think
guys
that
are
we
going to
should-
get back right at debate time, like
Mhm.
because that was the whole deal. You guys coming here cut off all of your prep.
Man,
Yeah.
I want to go canvass the citizens, figure out what they need in a.
That's what we talked about, was that, coming here, like, you only had a set amount of time before the debate, and you guys coming out here eats that time.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we wanted to find out about the plant. The lichen.
You can have, like, if you hurry, or somehow find a way to speed yourself up through non-mundane means, maybe you could have a little bit of time to canvas. But as it is, you guys are losing your time by coming out here.
Well, I think we ought to keep Grills as our backup plan to see the ward if we don't
I think
succeed at the debate.
we should ask Grill's basic information that Beldam can use for about Treetop.
But he hasn't been to
For the debate.
Treetop in years.
It doesn't
we
matter.
need an
Find out when
Eldrick for that.
find when it was established. They're like just basic shit because we have nothing. If he knows any of that shit anyway, I don't know that he necessarily would, to be honest.
What, like, so she can lead in with 4 and however many years ago, because we'll actually know when the city was founded.
Yeah, exactly. Make Treetop
Propaganda.
great again.
I like it. So go ahead and ask him. Grills, do you know when Treetop was founded?
Rumbo, are you okay? You are still here.
No, I was waiting on Paul because he's the one who brought it up.
Oh.
Oh, I'm trying to
Um,
think of like other things that he might actually know that could help.
Girl shrugs and says, sometime before I was born.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to help us in information gathering for this.
It says, I do know that Treetop was the third village founded after, it was the third village founded under the protectorate of Twin River Valley, the township.
The others being Red Shore and Creekside.
No, Red Shore and Creekside were founded after even. The original, the first two are, have since been overrun or destroyed.
How is Red Shore doing, by the way?
He says, you'll be happy to know that the ward you provided is keeping the town quite protected. The Silent Suns have reported that largely the area is as it was prior to their ward failing. So thank you again in assisting me in doing my job. You will be perhaps saddened to learn that the young pixie Summer is no longer here.
No.
It appears that she fell victim to husking, as the creature that took my arm was one such husk as we were attacked by a hag on the way north.
Ah, shit. The hag that was eating. That you told us about. Before we went to go to the Giants' country.
The hag we didn't want to
Yeah.
deal with.
Yep.
Well, shit. We're sorry about that.
He kind of shrugs and says, "It's the way of the world." The pixies, though they do appear to be children, are no more or less innocent than you or I. She drew the short straw. She was unlucky. But yeah, no, I can tell you that Treetop was the third, and thus of the three now, it is the oldest. I don't know exactly what the first two were. They again were well before my time. He keeps kind of looking over at Udinar. Through the course of this conversation, he eventually just stops and says, "What exactly are you, by the way?" He says, "I know nearly every tree north of Moonfall Township, and I have never such seen a creature like yourself."
And I know every rock and tree and creature.
God damn it.
Is that a Pocahontas?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. A Pocahontas. I mean, I guess I would just tell him I'm what I guess is considered a furbolg.
He looks even more confused. I'm pretty sure you're making that word up, but sure. I mean, if you're the only one, then I guess you can call yourself whatever you damn well please.
Yeah, I don't really know what that race's place in this world is, I suppose. So
you should know that even whenever you were born, it was a dying race.
yeah, okay.
Like your entire existence was like and I don't know if you mind if I share this to
Yeah, it's
publicly or not.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like the entire reason that you were put into the body you were put in was kind of like your god's attempt at saving a dying race.
And then you had to go and get frozen for a couple 100 years.
Yeah.
Hey man, it was worth it because I got to meet you guys.
Aww.
Yeah. So you're
I'd like
your
to
race.
do an insight roll on that comment.
Sure. The DC
No.
is 40.
Damn it.
The DC is 42.
So,
Well.
Grills, I think it may be in the best interest of this Spira project for you to come back to Treetop with us.
He says, I would be delighted to do exactly that. Just one small problem.
Which is?
Well, I need to be here when Pause and the remainder of the group that's guarding the relic arrives with the soul gem.
And what's the timeline look like for that?
Well, without the whistle magic, it should be... assuming that they aren't killed along the way, anywhere between 2 and 6 days.
Ugh. Well, is there any sort of written endorsement or token that you can give us that might convince the people of Treetop that you were endorsing them out in the political race as elder?
Sure. I can give you something. I don't know what my word will be worth.
Well, you, as the creator of the ultimate ward that protects their city, it might have some clout.
I don't exactly know how many of the common villagers of Treetop are going to know that information, but yeah, I'll write something on one of Eldric's notes here, and he looks over at his arm.
I approve this message.
Well, he looks over his arm. He's like, "Well, my signet ring is kind of, well, rotting somewhere, probably with my arm
Oh, God.
in the belly of something or another."
Ugh.
He's like,
Petalin looks like she's going to be sick.
I guess I could stamp it with my paw. There aren't really any giant bears around. I'll figure something out. Give me a few hours. He's looking over at various notes. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm so glad you asked because I wouldn't have seen this otherwise. When you put the drops in Lena's eyes, you also need to put them in your own eyes. Just don't forget that. That's very important.
Also,
Good to
what
know.
exactly are these words that need to be whispered?
They're in a language that most people don't speak anymore, but I'll write them down for you, in common.
Can they be said in common and it still is effective, or...
No, I'm gonna write down how to pronounce it.
Oh,
I mean, it's nothing weird. It's just magic words. You know, ravioli, give me the formioli.
good to know.
Yeah, it's nothing like specific. It's just a verbal component.
Sure.
Anything else?
Can't think of anything else.
The children are making like the weirdest sounds right now. It's very distracting. Anyway, so Grills is going to see what he can do about writing you a credible endorsement. Do you need anything from Eldrick? I can't
Can we
remember.
get
Did
an
Eldrick give you
endorsement
guys?
from him as well?
Did you guys ask for one before? I suppose you wouldn't have because you wouldn't have known that you were in the thing. So,
Right. Yeah, no.
If you wait for him to come back, sure.
Well, how much time do we have before the debate? Like, can we wait until the morning? Or not?
Like if you guys leave immediately, you have 2 days. Like you'll get back with 2 days to spare.
So it's a matter of whether or not we think it's worth it to talk to Eldrick, or if we want to go back and canvas, which it probably wouldn't hurt us to go back and canvas.
Yeah, but an
Yeah.
endorsement from the protector of the woods outside their town.
But we don't. But like you said, just we don't know how much that's going to be worth.
Right, from Grills, but from Eldrick, who people are aware of because these are Eldrick's woods.
Yeah. No, you're right. If he's here in the morning,
Is this a conversation that you guys are having in character?
I don't think so, but I guess I
mean,
can't
no.
speak for them.
It sounds like it's in character.
then yes, it's in character.
Okay. So as Grills overhears you, he's like, I could just stamp a tiger paw too.
Yeah, all right.
I'm good with that.
Sure.
Because something tells me is that Eldrick isn't going to come back by the morning.
Grills chimes in and says, something tells me that he's up north.
Ooh. Heyo.
Yep.
Should we go get their endorsement too?
Something tells me that the people of Treetop won't give a crap about them.
I don't think we
Anyway,
should wait.
yeah, if you could put a stamp on there of a tiger paw, we'll probably be on our way back to town.
He says, well, that's certainly doable. I'll see what I can write up here, and then I would be happy to join you in town proper as soon as Paws and the others arrive.
I think that's a good idea.
The inn that
Isn't
we
it?
were staying at has a name, right? I don't think I've written down. It's the only inn in town,
It's the
though, right?
only
Yeah.
inn, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really.
Okay.
It's the in and out.
No.
Yes, I just decided. In and Out Tavern.
All right, so we're not going to wait for Eldrick. We're just going to take the endorsement and go.
Okay.
That's the plan, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
I do need to go feed my dog, though.
Okay.
We could take like a 5-minute break, I guess.
Yeah, we can do a break here. It's 6. We're probably gonna go till we'll probably go to 9. Just based off what I have in my notes. So we can go ahead and take 10 here. So before you go, I'm gonna set the group in motion. So from here, you guys are gonna head back west toward Treetop, where you're going to attempt to use the time you have left to kind of canvass, gather information about the election, and do what you can. Is my understanding prior to the debate proper? Is that right?
That's right.
Correct.
You'll be taking the written endorsement and forged endorsement of Grills and Eldrick, respectively, into town with the hopes that that will assist you in some way during the debate and the election itself. So it sounds like the group is going in with the intent to win the election, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not setting
right.
our hopes high, but
An attempt will be made.
Okay. That's good to know. All right, then yeah, let's call it we'll call it 6:10 my time. So everybody enjoy your 10 minutes.
Okay.